excited. Now, I'm not much of a skier or a snowboarder. I'd love to get into it, but I don't have the best balance. But seeing something like this would really get me excited for the winter season. Now, take that with a grain of salt. Be careful because it could get a bit icy, and if you're not familiar with this terrain, driving in the snow is very dangerous. So look at the Department of Transportation in all of these areas to make sure you know some of the rules and regulations when there is snow on some of these mountain passes. The heaviest amounts of snow could be over 2.5 feet. That would be in northern New Mexico into southern Colorado. The timing there Wednesday and into Thursday. But a spot like Denver, you're not excluded from this snow event either. With the last few brief snows that we've had, Denver wasn't so lucky because the temperatures were a bit too warm. Maybe you'll see a few flakes, but it's truly as you get higher into the elevations when the snow becomes a lot more widespread. For Albuquerque, New Mexico, the yearly average is about 7.9 in terms of the monthly snow, or in total. For December, that's your snowiest month, but November, you're starting the climb here. Albuquerque is a spot that's on my bucket list to visit, and I think I might be able to go there for my birthday, which gets me pretty excited. It's in the early new year, so I have to enjoy the snow for my winter birthday. The Fox weather forecast showing you on Thursday widespread snow. Any area with this purple going to be a crucial factor going through the next couple of days. Over the last 4 days, I mean, look at the rain totals here. For the southern plains going near the Red River region through central Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, some areas have seen over 5 to 8 inches, maybe even upwards towards 8 to 12. The rain isn't quite over yet for this area either. We have an even further dip in the jet stream, a low pressure system driving severe weather for yet another day. This would be day 3 in a row now. Here's the overall setup. We've got Pacific moisture that's being dipped across the Four Corners, creating one of our first large winter storm events for spots like the Rockies and into northern New Mexico. But what it means for areas that are still warm this time of year, that just means heavy rain. And when you have that collision between a cold air mass with warm and moist air, that's why we have secondary severe weather season in the fall and our first severe weather season in the spring. It's when Mother Nature tries to hand off the baton, the atmosphere basically causes severe weather, gusty winds, when it's not in equilibrium. I mean, everybody wants to, be here, but, when it's not in equilibrium, that's when we see these severe storms as it tries to level itself out. The flash flood threat for Monday is at a level 2. That extends from Michigan, Wisconsin, all the way down into Texas. So throughout the entire country, with that center half, a level 2, we could have a couple areas present itself at a higher threat level, the WPC highlighting that. So maybe we could see a level 3. That would be for a smaller coverage region, and it would just be because they've seen so much rain. So wherever the storms target tonight and into the overnight and maybe target tomorrow, the flood threat would be more increased. On Tuesday, which just so happens to be election day, still looking at a level 1 threat. So if you are heading out to the polls on Tuesday to make your vote, just make sure that you take things slow. If you encounter floodwaters, there's probably a better way to get to your polling site. For Monday, we're still at a level 3 out of 5, and it doesn't budge very much. I mean, today it was maybe a little more horizontal, and just towards the west of today is now just a couple days away. And here's what you can expect for your weather. We've had severe weather over the weekend, potentially hindering some folks making their way to the polls, and that is going to continue for Election Day. So if you're looking for a day to avoid rain, sorry if you live in Arkansas, Missouri, you might not have it anymore, so bring the umbrella. That's all I have to say. So from Chicago down towards Houston, some thunderstorms could be possible. Now, where I went and early voted, we had to wait outside before we could go into the polling location. So if you do have thunderstorms that are imminent in your area, just be careful. If you get a notice of lightning, make sure to seek shelter. On the flip side, though, from the rain to the snow, out across the Pacific Northwest, we have a large dip in the jet stream that is going to create the largest blast of snow we've seen this year. For Tuesday, we'll be farther towards the north, so we're talking the northern Rockies, and for the Wasatch Range, some ice could be mixed in on the lower elevations. Later on, Wednesday and Thursday, that's when that threat begins to eye Denver and portions of the Four Corners, so it dips a little farther south. For our our friends out across the Southwest, for Salt Lake City, 41 degrees and a mix of rain. But besides that, a large majority of the major cities from LA to Las Vegas to Phoenix are experiencing a mix of sun and clouds, but the sun will definitely be there. Higher in the elevations, especially for Utah and Colorado, some snow is certainly within the forecast. Now taking you towards the Great Lakes, an area with quite a few battleground states from Michigan out towards Wisconsin, Ohio as well. And there is going to be rain in the forecast. For a spot like Nebraska and Kansas, that's where things will look a little bit better in terms of the rain. Going to have a mixture of some sun, but also could see some cloudier days as well. For the Northeast with battleground Pennsylvania, overall for a spot like Philly, 76 and partly cloudy. That's a pretty great day, although it is a bit warm. Now this time of year, I'm looking for highs in the 60s, so 76 is not usually my ideal forecast. Up towards Burlington, Vermont, you do have a